Okay, I'm gonna play some more Case of Distrust. Yeah, it causes like sound errors on when it closes. I had to restart one of the services last when I played it like 3 times in a row last time. After like a bit, it was like that. Oh my, the joys of Case of Distrust. It hates being minimized. It hates um, the trackpad. And I'm gonna try to play through this. It's getting annoying. It feels like I'm about halfway through the game, even though you know how long to beat has it as 3 hours. I'm at 4.5 if I count the where I couldn't find the wine bottle. But it just feels like now that I'm like in this like contradiction and examination, have all these new places to check. It just feels like I'm about halfway, and it's like, oh. Also, I got Ninja Robots on in the background. It's great. I've never caught like a bunch of episodes in a row, so like I'm skipping around, like I'm catching like episode 20 and then episode 40 and then episode 3. But what I love about it is the voice acting. It's like it's more like a bunch of kids and stuff, like or like you know, college kids or like high schoolers. That was like their group project, or like they got together and were like, we're gonna dub this anime. So that it adds this authenticity to the characters. Or there's also like times where like you can tell like like a voice actor is playing another character, but they're giving like a weird accent. And then there's like Icelander who has an accent, but the voice actor keeps forgetting what accent it is. So sometimes you'll have like a British accent, and then sometimes you'll sound, you know, like from Belgium. And it's like, just can't seem to remember. And it's funny. I love it. It's just great. But, yeah, I don't like the protagonist. He's an asshole. Anyway, in order to find Green's killer, I had to prove that somebody had the means, the motivation, and the opportunity for murder. Anyone connected to the case was a possible suspect. Yeah, the room was much smaller than I expect for Gangster's Paradise. The only light comes from the hanging lamps above the billiards table and the haze of smoke darkening the corners. Yeah, we just finished up here. I think we've done everything I can here. So I'm going to leave. Thought about heading back down to the dark stairs of the street. We're going to go to the barber shop. We now know that Mrs. Green was not at the billiards room like she claimed. She doesn't have an alibi now. But I don't know why Stable's barbershop's there, because I think we're done, so we're going to check there and see if there's anything new. Thought I'd pay Stable a visit at his barbershop. Flagged a taxi cab, and on my way, I thought about chatting with the driver to pass the time. Talked about the weather and not much else, and I was taxi cab drivers made poor conversation partners. Yeah, sometimes I get this, like, it seems to be happening more frequently, so I think I'm running out of scenes with the taxi driver. The barbershop was down an alley in Financial District opposite the Red Brick National Bank. Oh, I had to click on the little arrow. Small bell above the door twinkled as I walked in. Someone else is there. Someone new. Hat rack was a deep mahogany, carried a lettering that read Fraser & Co. Furnishings. Comfortable, it seemed elaborate for a barbershop. Waiting chair. Nothing new. Besides the mirror's frame, yeah. There's Zadie. Okay. There was a man seated in the barber chair, tapping his foot, staring at me. Didn't see Stable anywhere. stared at me with a grin that extended to his eyes. He was wearing a barber's cape, which told me he was here for a haircut. I wondered why Stable had left this man mid-trim. Yeah, Stable. Got this high-glass place, probably paying like a crap load for 1930s. Like, is it? No, it's 1920s. No, 30s. 30s, yeah, 1930s prices. Asked how he was doing. Swell, he answered. Yes, well, very swell indeed, thank you, miss. His words came out as jovial as his expression, and they held a slight and affable southern tint. A few more pleasantries returned equally verbose, responsive, with no meat to them. This piqued my interest. Yeah, why the fuck's he here? Stranger in Stable's barber chair with no sign of Stable around. Who are you? I asked with genuine curiosity. I'm merely a mortal man enjoying my life at this very moment, he replied, looking at me up and down. And there's much to enjoy. Actually, no, he's not just a client. We know that Stable only does haircuts for his friends. So this is a player in the, bootlegging whatever fuck game. I laughed in response. Old guy was getting fresh with me. I smiled wide and laughed. Glad that some flappers know how to take a compliment, I said. Most modern girls get their stockings knotted wherever someone calls them pretty. I disagreed. Sometimes those compliments become uncivil. We can't have gentlemen getting out of line. I suppose that's true, he laughed. Yes, indeed, that is true. Well, my name is Ray Carter, regular jazz basses at the Tin Spoon Lounge. I speak easy in North Beach. It's my pleasure to meet you, miss. So he doesn't know who we are, because someone from the Tin Spoon would know Malone. Also, I'm drinking hot chocolate. I'm trying my flask. I washed the ring out again. I'm getting ready to buy another one because it's a Mana vacuum flask. I think they're called Vogue is the style. I've had this since Canada's 150 celebration, and the ring randomly decides to be musty. I'll wash it and dry it, and I'll soak it in vinegar if I'm going to put it in storage, and it will be fine, and then sometimes it'll just randomly I'll use it every day, and then on the third day it'll be randomly smell musty. So I'm trying it to see how it goes. I got a job working for the municipal election, so I'm gonna need my vacuum flask. He worked at Tin Spoon. That surprised me. Were you there last night? I asked. Until early this morning, he gleaned. I won a bucket of change at the poker table. Just about everyone was saying they never saw someone play cards so well. Sometimes you get lucky, I suppose. He winked. Yeah, and sometimes you have two fucking aces of the same suit. My interview is all related to this case. I was glad he smiled and upbeat suspect eased any harsh questions. Well, we know he's related, because if he says he was there and he saw Mrs. Green, then it contradicts the other witness. And if he says that she wasn't there, it, adds to our case. This case. I'm glad he smiled and upbeat suspect eased any harsh questions. Until you contradict them or something, and then they clam up. He saw me taking notes and asked, "And are you some sort of continental operative?" When I nodded, he let out a whistle and said, "A woman detective." Well, that is almost as swell as sight as a black man in a white man's barber chair. Asked about notes. Yeah, this is another one I have to ask about the newspaper. But we're going to, no, we don't want to ask about the guns. Oh, it would be an evidence, wouldn't it? Not a statement. Maybe. No, it'd be in statements, yeah. We'll call him out on the cards first. There were 2 aces hearts on the deck of the billiards table. How much did you win last night? I asked him. Oh, a heap of it, he grinned. And how many aces did it take you to get there? His face showed genuine surprise. And how many aces did Tiny Paul think you were in that deck? I poked further. Now you look here, he growled. Tiny Paul is a mean-spirited, no-good, black-hating son of a bitch. He pays his pennies, but wants us to be good and smile for him. Well, I am not having that, miss. No, I'm not having that at all. Yes, I took him for a ride, and I feel no remorse for it. In some ways, it's all part of the game. I said that was all right, but Tiny Paul might see it differently. Why, you wouldn't tell him, would you? He pleaded. I don't see a reason. I need to, I said. So long as you tell me what I need to know. But the thing is, like, what I would be like, you know, you shouldn't have left the fucking extra card there. You should have taken it with your money. Because you're lucky Tiny Paul wasn't there. So long as you tell me what you need to know. Smile. Well, certainly, most certainly. What is it you want? I was glad he knew the score. I want to know where Stable is, I told him. Stable was here. Congenial and unhurried. Then he received a telephone call and said he had to check on something at his Tanforan racetrack. He told me to just sit tight while he returned, and here we are. Stable had gone to his horses. Another lead that would need chasing. Stable and horses, yeah. You know, he continued, I bet I had no reason to cheat last night. Not with the way that Ellie kept distracting him. Yeah, she's very distracted indeed. He was very distracted indeed. I raised a questioning brow. Ellie Smith and Tiny Paul have something going on. A girl throws himself onto him like she'd throw water on a fire. I noted that, then changed subject conversation. Yeah, I don't think Bucko killed Green. I think he was too busy cheating Tiny Paul. But we want to find out about, where's, Mrs. Green? We'll ask about Mrs. Green. If Ellie was there throwing himself, what about Screen? Oh, I'm sorry, Missy said. I ain't know nothing about that. I nodded and asked about something else. You think you'd know if you're a bassist in the band, you'd know the lead singer. Ellie Smith tells me that little Fanny wasn't in the billiards room at midnight, I put him. I remember her being there at the beginning of and the end of the night, but I cannot keep track of everyone at every time. If Ella seemed sure, I have no reason to doubt her. Well, we know from Bucko that no one was in and out. Green had died around midnight, put on him. I was inside all night with the band, and Tiny Paul play poker. We heard no shots in that racket. I'll ask about the newspaper, get that over with. Fucking Red Scare shit. Asked Carter about the article on Lennon's death. Ah, yes, he said. Unfortunate tragedy. Truly, folks might be scared of those Reds, but inevitably, their system will turn out better than ours. I can only hope Lennon's death will not derail their fantastic movement, he continued. Our own tyrants have poisoned our media against a fair system, but you cannot argue with everyone being offered exactly what they need. Why in our modern day, most do without. We're gonna agree with him. We're gonna keep him on, because we just, you know, got him pissed off a bit. I agree with him. Why do we work so hard only to have the top fraction of a percentage hold more than half the wealth in this country? Carter became jubilant. Exactly, he exclaimed. We bleed and sweat more than any other people, more than anyone indeed, and what do we get out of it? We're just feeding that rich with their caviar. Continued like that for a while, purring about the Soviet system and its improvements in our own. Imagine somewhere a couple of Bolsheviks were equally envious of our system. Eventually ran out of praise, and I swung conversation in a new direction. Hmm. Ah, there we go. Yeah, I was waiting for the Steve achievement to come up. Because it said, like, when I was looking at, you know, how many more I had to go and what to examine, when I couldn't find that fucking wine bottle for an hour and a half. It said not to back out of that, like to pick a choice of those two. But I've kept myself pretty much spoiler free because I was pretty much just looking at, you know, not opening spoilers when I saw them. Just missable trophies is what I saw. Um, This card about password to this pin spoon card seemed oblivious to. I suppose band members never had to use passwords to enter. Oh. Only gives friends haircuts. Yeah. I showed him something in my book, but he gave me nothing of note from resulting conversation. Yeah, that's not helpful. Only thing about Stable's bootlegging, bucko. Sorry, Missy said I know nothing about that. Yeah. I don't think Stable's bootlegging. I think he's gambling racket. I know why. She knows why Ella was crying. Show him something in my book. Nope. Not helpful. Well, you asked about if he owns a gun. If he's in the band. Sorry, Missy said nothing about that. Yeah, you're not helpful. Last of about Zadie. Showed him something in my book. Nope. We can ask him more about this, I guess. I'd ask Carter about something he'd already said. He rambled a while, but didn't give me anything new. Yeah, bucko. You're not very helpful, bucko. Did you have access to the gun Green was shot with? I asked him. A black man with a cannon, he laughed. Miss, if I held one in the tin spoon, I would lose more than my job. Much, much more than my job. Those boys do not treat me like they do you, pretty lady. I like to keep my neck, so no, I do not carry one, nor do I know where to get one. Suppose it sounds alright to me. I'm gonna kick the can near midnight, it said again. Right, yeah. Told me that already. We were in the billiards room at that time. Don't. Yeah, I don't think Bucko had anything to do with it. I think he... Like, why the fuck would he... Maybe that's why he left the 2 aces, I don't know. Sorry, Missy said I don't know nothing about that. Yeah. Asked about the wine, maybe. Show him something in my book. No. Some of these things you'd think he would have something to say about. Because there was one, you know, like up and down the stairs, and then like he didn't have anything to say, and then asked him about if Fanny was there, and he did, like, you know, it's there seems like some things that he should. Where's Red so stable? What your brother? No, Carter, you really are not very helpful in this investigation. Asking the questions about Green now. Showed Carter the black hand letter that Green had given me, but resolving conversation gave me no leads. No new leads. I asked him about the motive. You have any reason to kill Green? I asked him directly. You know, little Fanny is 2 nickels straight, he said. But I never supposed that killing Green would get me any closer. No, miss, I had no motive for that. Suppose that sounded alright to me. Yeah, we already know he doesn't carry a gun because he's in the band. Yeah, access to the gun Green was shot with. I told you already, he said. If they catch me with a cannon, I lose my neck. No, I don't carry one. And we'll ask about opportunity. We already know. We'll just get them to confirm his alibi. Green kicked the can near midnight, I said. Right, yeah, he's not it. Told me that already. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else here. I'm gonna ask Frankie about the new things I found last time we were there. Asked about the wine bottle here, maybe? I don't think there's any. No, didn't think so. It's like my mouse battery's dying. Haven't changed it in quite a while, so because I don't use it. Oh, well, asked about if he's. The story Missy said, I know nothing about that. I nodded and asked about something else. I should have asked Ella if she knew about Fanny's laudanum habit. I'll ask about Frankie's baseball career. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else. Just go through it again. I'm surprised the Gibbs Friends haircuts didn't have anything. Probably cover further about Staples' business at the Tanforan racetrack, but didn't seem to know anything else. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Paul wasn't there. I'm sorry, Missy said. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to get from this guy. Decided to leave him be. I knew I could always come back later with more questions. Looked around Stable's elaborate shop. We already know that now it won't let you miss things. It's more linear because it wouldn't let me continue anything until I found that wine bottle. Okay. We got the racetrack as a new thing, but I'm going to go. I'm curious if she knows about the laudanum. While he was at Ella Smith's still be upstairs, I could ask her more questions if I felt they were reasonable. Just to cover my bases, because I'm curious, because I don't want to play this fucking game for another 4 hours to get to the same part. How much longer are you be driving? All my conversations with cab drivers were memorable. state our evidence. Empty bottles. Shows up in my notes, but I mean, conversation has the notes. I want a lot of money playing cards. I'm sorry, I don't know anything about that. Okay, we're gonna ask while we're here. Ray Carter tells me that you and Tawny Paul are close, I said. Is that true, Mrs. Smith? Smith squinted at me hotly, then let out a sigh. Okay, he's right, she blurted. I'm in love with Paul. That's no crime. It was obvious that she wanted to hide the relationship. If the two of them ever broke it off, her career would be doomed. I empathized with her. I empathize with her. Heart never plays fair. This won't get out on my account, I promise, but you have to tell me Tiny Paul's whereabouts. He sighed and gave me the address of Pacific Heights apartment building. He lives in a penthouse on the top floor. Just don't tell him I told you. I thanked her for Paul's address and changed the subject. Well, we got some stuff by coming back anyway. I'll have to put the cards. Those cards you're fiddling with, I said. Are they the same ones the boys were playing with last night? She said they were. Turn back to the room. Oh, cold. Back down to the dark stairs to the street. Okay, we're gonna go to the racetrack because we got that information first. Stay was at the Tan Foran racetrack near San Bruno. I took a ride over there to talk with him. Yeah, Stata plays on apparently. Got down taxi cab on my way. I thought I might talk to the driver on the pass the time. Started a conversation with the driver, a young man who was a former journalist in Tennessee. Tried to change the place of my reports, he said with a slight twang. Left as soon as they said that it'd be impossible. I asked him, what change did you have in mind? I asked. Well, he cleared his throat. I was a staunch believer in democracy, but my old state's got this lawman, Jim Butler, that sells snake oil as far as I'm concerned. He wants to outlaw teaching evolution to children. I tried to fight it, show the people he was insane, but it seems like his law will pass. How does this con man know more than the scientist? That's just one example, but it's damn irony of the 51%. Will of the people is the best governing solution we got. It might not be perfect, but it's better than being ruled by kings or aristocrats. The driver shook his head. Will of the people gets dangerous. People don't know what they're talking about. We're just swayed by the loudest talker, and more than half the people say black is white. Does that make it so? Well, taxi pulled up to our destination. This cab is a dictatorship, and I say you gotta get out now. So I can grab another customer. We winked, and I exited. Okay, I'm glad I didn't piss him off. I thought maybe I pissed him off. Tanforan racetrack had reopened the previous year with the help of millionaire Adolf Spreckles and some associates, one of whom was stable. Today no races were ongoing, and the sheer size of the empty grounds and the grandstands were impressive. Yeah, my experience with racetrack is basically that, okay, I am big into the game series called Lifeline. In fact, I own the official server for Lifeline, even though I'm just an admin, but it keeps it in fans' hands. The publisher for it, like the developers, 3 Minute Games, and they were a small little group within Big Fish Games. But Big Fish Games was bought by Churchill Downs. And they tried to monetize things with Lifeline instead of having, you know, you buy a game, you have the story, you can, play it as much as you want after you buy it. They introduced, always online, so you had no actual, you had to be connected to their server, and it was, premium choices, and you had to pay to unlock chapters, and you couldn't replay unless you paid things, and you couldn't read logs of what you've already played, things like that, and microtransactions galore. And it flopped. And they got their community management was shit. But that's my experience with racetracks, is just, and I'm kind of glad that it did go under when it did, because it was just before NFTs and cryptocurrency got really big, because one of the producers for Lifeline got really into NFTs after that. So I think there would probably have been more, because the game that she had, story in the Lifeline universe, you had to do premium choices to end the chapter. So you had to buy, premium currency to be able to complete this chapter of the story. So yeah, things like that. But now the original 3 Minute Games has, and writers have the IP, which is good. But yeah, exercise of the empty grounds and grandstands were impressive. Also, I know, there's, a big thing is, pimento cheese and mint juleps. And hats. I hopped the locked turnstile and wandered the grandstands and some of the grounds. But all my searching turned up nothing, and nobody not even stable. I turned near the entrance and searched for more clues. Wooden slats boarded the window to the old betting house. The Walker Otis measure of 1909 prohibited gambling on horses, which meant that most racetracks shuttered, including the Tanforan. Stable and a few other investors reopened the track for the previous year, claimed to operate without taking bets. Empty boxes were thrown next to the old betting house. I spent some time rummaging through them, but found nothing of interest. I moved the trash bin's lid to let my hand play with something. Well, my thoughts had time to form. Peering in, I saw the biggest break in the case thus far. An automatic pistol, 45 caliber, was right on top of the pile. I reached in to get a closer look. Well, this is interesting. We're not doing fingerprints, are we, Malone? Up in Canada, had Murdoch Mysteries around the same time doing fingerprints, and we have now the Crimson Diamond, Nancy Maple doing fingerprints, and now you're contaminating evidence, Malone. Throat clear behind me, I pocketed the weapon quickly and then turned around and stable smug grin. Have you come to watch the horses? He asked. Rumor says that running through fire will be the victor, though at times it can be dangerous to put stock in rumors. still reminds me of the guy from Master of Disguise at the Turtle Club. We're gonna ask about Ray Carter. Ray Carter told me something interesting I put to him. Says that he got a wire from somebody and rushed out, leaving him mid-trim. The first time I saw Stable frown. While business and pleasure sometimes mix, Miss Malone. Yes, I was telephoned for maintenance issue, but that's now all sorted. We're gonna ask about the haircuts. We're not asking about the gun, because that's, you know, we're not keeping that. Like, we're not going to be like, hey, bucko, we found a gun in your trash. Are you sure you found it in the trash, Miss Malone? Are you sure you didn't plant it? Maybe you had the gun on you all the time. Asked him again about giving me a haircut, but Stable wouldn't budge. Now, is it because Malone's a lady, or is it because we're not friends? I don't know. Oh, my friend just popped on with RuneScape. I'm gonna tell him about Green's death. I told him that Connor Green was found near the tin spoon. He looked surprised by that. The coroner reported his time of death around midnight. That is a late hour, Stable said. Miss Malone, I am always fast asleep in my bed at that time of night. So nobody was with you? No, I was alone. In response to my raised eyebrow, he continued, I would never lie to you, Miss Malone. Of course, it would be just as difficult for you to disprove my story as it would be for me to prove it, and we live in a civilized nation that requires your proof, not mine. Told him that Connor Green was found near the tin spoon. Okay, we got that. Thought I already clicked it. Stable might have had the opportunity to kill Green, but I'd have to first place him concretely. I assure you, he said, I was at home asleep at that time. I let a statement slide just then and asked about something else. I'm scared of clicking it by mistake. I already told him. Oh, did I tell him the black hand letter was fake? Gentleman tells me Green's letter is forgery, I said. Stable grinned wide. Yes, Miss Malone, I told you. Stable still refused to admit knowledge of the note. Green already thought you had it out for him, I said. What if I had good cause to think about that? Wouldn't his bootlegging scheme put you under? Miss Malone, Stable smiled. I assure you, I do no illegal rum running. Green's story was simply a ruse, and you have not discovered that yet. I had no reason whatsoever to murder Green. I still wasn't sure if Stable did, in fact, bootleg, but I couldn't think of anything to prove it, or that I had any motivations at all to kill Green. Yeah. We already know Green was fucking, like, probably made that up. Asked about owning a gun, I guess. I told him that Connor Green was found near the tin spoon, the coroner reporting his time of death around midnight. As I said, Miss Malone, I was at home asleep at the time. Don't. Well, I just then asked something else. Will asked about his baseball career. Asked about something in my notebook, but he said nothing meaningful in response. No one knows about Ray Carter, or Frankie Carter, or Frankie Conway's career. I had known about me, but he wouldn't admit to anything else. Slimy fucking eel. Uh, um... Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to ask him. I don't want to ask him about the gun. Oh, we can ask more about the racetrack. The boxes were thrown next to the old betting house. I spent some time rummaging through them, but found nothing interesting. We didn't check the turnstile either. Pointed something in my book, but nothing. Okay, bucko. Asked about the betting house. Put something in my notebook, but yeah. Not going to talk to me about the betting house. No, you have a gun. We were shot last night, told him. Any chance you know the place that plugged him? Miss Maloney said, I'm not the sort to be associated with any way with a pistol. Yeah, we could contradict him to tell him that we found a gun in his different garbage can, but I don't really want him to know I found it. We already asked about motive. Talk more about Carter if we can. Leave him be. Take the turnstile. We're snuck into the racetrack by jumping the locked turnstile, which had been easy enough. I could leave the same way. Nothing else to check here. Check the trash. Found the 45 caliber gun in the trash bin. Type most gangsters used. We're stuck in the racetrack by jumping the locked turnstile, which had been easy enough. I could leave the same way. Yeah. I don't think there's really any, like, the thing is, Tiny Paul already tried, like, Green already tried to frame Stable, so they might, whoever killed Green might have just thrown the gun in the trash. And it's like, yeah, I could ask him and see what kind of reaction I get from him, or I could contradict him that he doesn't know anything about guns, but I don't really want him to know I have the gun. So, I'm gonna go to Southern Coffee and ask about that stuff before I forget. I have the, Tiny Paul's apartment. I saw a driver. I spotted a strange device attached to his windshield. A rectangular mirror about 3 inches tall and 7 inches wide, held by a metal bracket. I asked about the mirror. He looked at me through it without needing to turn around. See how I can see you, he asked. I can see that bull behind us. And I can see the bull. Turned on. I saw a police wagon and a block behind us. So he just invented a rear view mirror. It's called a cop spotter, he continued as he turned back. Mere soul buzz fellow Berger. Works pretty well for knowing when to bend the law. Might be a good tool for bootleggers, I offered, as we arrived at the destination. Turned around for some time with a wide grin. Yeah, it might be. Smiled back and left the taxicab. Could have asked him about Green's bootlegging, bucko. But yeah, I'm kinda... Anything new here? Oh, Frankie, what's eating you, kitty asked. At least Malone has Shipman and Frankie. But yeah, I want to ask about the bottles that I found last time. Because the poem won't we know. Those bottles behind the counter make this place come together, I told Frankie. He nodded in agreement. Just a shame they don't make them like that after Prohibition. You could always become a glassblower, I offered. Frankie laughed. I like to save my breath for talking. Something else on your mind? I guess, like, probably gonna be the same thing if I asked about the, horse one. I would have asked him about the gun. Found this gun at the stable's racetrack grounds, I said to Frankie. Raised his brow in amazement. Do you think that could be a murder weapon? That could point to stable as the killer? I nodded. I still needed more information. Got anything else, Frankie? Add it? End it, I should say. Betting house. Well, I asked about the racetrack. He might know some shit about the racetrack. Asked about Frankie something in my notes, but response got me no closer to solving the case. Yeah. Yeah. I thought there'd be more information about, I asked about Laudanum. I don't know if I did it yet or not. Can't remember. Point something in my book with Frankie's. Never mind. I said I swapped my seat away from the bar. Oh, we can ask him about, he might have calmed down now. We can ask him about the fucking baseball career. Try bring up baseball career again. Not yet, Malone. Came his response. Let go for the moment. You need more time to cool off. Yeah. No more. Leave. Yeah, I'm gonna think that's it for now. Like, I gotta go see Tiny Paul's apartment. Don't know if I have the energy to do that right now. What time is it? Let's get close to when my mom calls for the evening. I'll go to Tiny Paul's apartment, I guess. Pacific Heights penthouse. If I had a question for him, I'd go there. Stepped into the taxi and rocked a comfortable position in the back seat. I thought about starting a chat with the driver. Talked about politics, but I don't remember exactly what it was about. All my conversations with cab drivers are memorable. Paul's home was extravagant. Every item adorning the apartment was of high quality, but there was evident lack of finesse in the combination, as though Paul had simply purchased expensive accoutrements without any thought or design. Yeah, we think he's out like a light. Paul's light brown shoes were scarred beside the couch he lay on. A bouquet of flowers lay on the table. They were vibrant yellow. They reminded me of flowers I'd seen earlier, but I couldn't place them at the moment. Oh! Are they the ones that Fanny has? A cluster of brown glass balls were in the far table. They were empty. Couch and chairs, patterned olive-colored cushions, their arms and legs were of gaudy shade of gold, matching the gold of the tables. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I'm gonna go tomorrow. I gotta buy a space heater. My the buttons on mine, it won't turn on without the remote. Good. Like, you can try to force it by like lifting up on the top a bit, but it's like, I think the spring's gone for the buttons, and it's not been putting out good heat for a while anyway, and they got them on sale this week. I'd rather get one now while they're $40 off, and they got a lot of stock, and you know, before I desperately need one in case this one completely goes. I just don't like that the new ones, you can't take the back off and clean the filters out. But I'm worried the cats will knock this one over because it's going to be an oscillating one. This one, the one I have right now, can be flipped up to the side to be like a baseboard heater, and it's internally oscillating. But this one moves. I'm worried the cats are going to attack it. Ha! Rack nailed to the back wall as did an empty gun holster. Ooh, Bucko's got a gun. Anything else here? Typal was sprawled across the Chesterfield, smelling of rocky alcohol. Well, that's not good. Said hello. It took a century, but his eyes eventually climbed to meet mine. He slurred a greeting. I figured drunk Tiny Paul would be more honest. I thought it was a good time to grill him. Did you have a reason to want Green dead? I put to him bluntly. He looked away and didn't answer further. Green was killed around midnight, I told him. Do you remember anything from then? After the jazz stopped playing at 10, I went up to the pool room to shoot. I think the whole band came in. Played cards until early in the morning. So you were in the Tin Spoon all night? I asked. After 10 he nodded, though I did leave before then. Met with Redstone Stable at 9 o'clock, then around 5 in the morning. It seemed like he hadn't slept much. Met a stable? I asked. Why? I ain't telling you that, sister. Then why should I believe you at all? Believe you want, he snorted. I was in the pool hall when Green was shot. I didn't challenge him on that point. We know he's got a gun. You own any guns? I asked. Paul looked at me. Enough already to kill a horse. Not a single one, Malone. Contradict. You want our first contradiction. Paul's apartment. Holster. Pointed at the empty holster on the room. That strap just hold your slingshot? Paul's deep breath carried more booze than a bootlegger's truck. Alright, Maloney said with the slurred words. I do carry a gun, but if you're barking up the wrong tree, lay off, you know what's good for you. I don't even know what my gun... You don't even know what my gun looks like. Slide us then. We could push him to be like, was it a 45? I find when you get something, it blinks. Ella Smith tells me little Fanny was absent from the billiards room at midnight. Told him. So, he asked patiently. So was she? Malone. I got my head down a poker game. The building could burn to the ground, and I wouldn't notice. I know. She came up with us, and I walked to her cab, then we left. Otherwise, I don't know who was in or out of the billiards room. I'm gonna tell him what Fred Grant said. He was killed around midnight, I told him. Do you remember anything from then? So I told you I was playing cards upstairs at 10 o'clock. Till early morning. No. Because we got Carter saying that he was scamming him, so I think probably got. But last about Ray Carter. Just Grunt apparently had nothing more to say about that. I'm worried he's got himself blind, drinking rubbing alcohol. Jim Taylor slept when he met him from 9 p.m. last night to their next meeting at 5 a.m. this morning. Well, we can contradict Stable now. I'm going to ask him about Ella, and I'm going to ask about the flowers. My suspicion is he was gambling. We're not telling him about the aces either. We owe it to Ray not to. But the like we knew he was. We think if it's the same flowers, maybe he was running around with little Fanny, and she took his gun and killed Green, and then tried to play it as Stable killed him. Simply, look at me with glossed eyes. Well, I asked about the Paul with empty balls strewn about the apartment. Man drink himself into stupor is no crime, or is it, Miss Detective? He hiccuped. I said it wasn't. No, it's prohibition. Yeah, I asked about his shoes. Just Grunt apparently had nothing more to say about that. Yeah, Obey Me has a new picture book out, and it looks so good. It's, Satan Ran Away, and it's like, but it's, on pre-order with Animate, and I gotta see about getting it, because, Animate has a notice on their page from when I checked for the pre-order to today that has, like, that they're no longer going to offer EMS shipping. Now, EMS is a little more expensive than their flat DHL shipping, but DHL charges a fee to import that's $21, plus any customs. So, even though it may be a few dollars more for EMS, it's not $21 more. So I'm going to have to order it before October 1st, because that's when they stop doing the EMS shipping. Because I'm like, it's a $35 book. It's like, I'm not fucking paying, shipping and then $21 on top of that, because it's over, $20 customs. Like, if anything's under $20 customs, you don't have to pay customs on it. Like, but if it's a gift, it's 60 and under, you don't have to pay for it. Yeah, the DHL charges flat $21, and it's like, I don't want to pay $21 extra for a book that's under $40. Like, so, We'll have to order it. Hopefully I get the extra bit of the GST early. I hate this that there's so many things I need to buy right now, and then I get paid next month. So it's like, if it just waited a bit, then I could, I wouldn't have to worry, because I'm going to be working for almost $16 an hour. So, but yeah, we'll ask him about the flowers. Actually, I'll ask him about the chair, because I know the flowers are going to give me something. Cushion, all color cushions. He's probably like, this lady detective is asking me about my fucking decorating sense. Or out of it from booze. Crap, bouquet of flowers lying on the table. They were vibrant yellow. They reminded me of flowers I'd seen earlier, but I couldn't place them at the moment. "What is flowers on your ottoman?" I said to him. "Vibrant yellow, though I didn't peg you as a tulip kind of gal." "Well," he hiccuped, "you hardly got to know me." "Who are they for, Paul?" "My mother," he said with finality. Tiny Paul didn't strike me as the man who would buy a dozen flowers for his mother. Couldn't tell me who the flowers for. I let it go just then. "Oh, a girl likes flowers like that one's on your table," I said to him. "Called green, but she likes yellow flowers." "How do you figure that?" I don't think he liked the way it figured. He stared at me through eyes ablaze, telling me all I needed. Tiny Paul was Fanny Green's admirer. Or you say him alone. "I'm just asking questions," I said to him. "A detective has to cover all our leads." Paul took a heavy sigh, but in his drunken state he didn't do much more. Moved on to other questions. I asked about his love life more. "Smith tells me that you two were lovers," I put to him. Said at a low grumble. Smith was beautiful, but she was Chinese, and Paul wouldn't sit well if rumors swirled about the two of them. "Paul," I pressed, "is she lying to me?" Paul sighed with a no, and fought with a, "It's just petting between us, nothing more." "Thought you were seeing Miss Connor Green," I told him. "I'm not married," he said with a sharpness to his words. "I can do as I damn please, and those women are both emancipated, right?" I said, "All right," and dropped it. Did I ask him about, a crap load of money? I can't remember. Just grunt. Apparently I had nothing more to say about that. We'll ask him about Frankie Conway's baseball career. Someone look at me with glossed eyes. Yeah, I think this most is going. "Al Smith tells me that most of your regulars are packing heat." Paul frowned. "He'd like me to put on the stand for crimes my patrons commit. I don't think I'd have any chance of beating the rap. But I don't control what my guests do, Malone." "Well, since we know he's running around, we're gonna talk about the tickets." "We had tickets to leave for St. Louis," I told Paul. He nodded. "So you know the game?" You did too, I replied, surprise evident in my voice. Early this morning, he slurred. I went to the... well, you know. You don't need to know where. Even inebriate Tiny Paul had enough to not to give away family secrets. Anyhow, it's enough to tell you this. Green was pulling the bait and switch. He wanted to take our money and get out of the city. He had no plan to sell us any of the stuff. So yeah, I'm glad he got what's coming to him. But no, he extended the last sentence, I'm not the one that plugged him. Much as Paul claimed to not be responsible, I wonder as much could trust the word of a gangster, at least his drunken speech. I give me a possible motive. Asked about the gun, not the one we found, but this one. Told him that Green had been killed with a large automatic. He replied sardonically, "What is our country coming to? So many people owning firearms? Tis tis." Green was killed around midnight, I told him. Do you remember anything from then? No. Yeah, I don't think there's really anything else. But we do know about the flowers, so we can go bother Green about that. We have the gun. Oh! Yeah, she probably won't answer that. Because I think we already asked him about this. Well, I'll ask him one last thing about, because he told me about Stable. We know about, pressed Paul further what he already told me, but I got nothing useful from it. Let it bluster aside. Well, there anything else, the accidentally detective decided to leave him be. I'd always turn for further questions. Yeah, I think that's it. Back down to the carpeted hallway. And I think I'm going to, because I have some stuff to follow up on. Like, I have to take, you know, I have to talk to Fanny about the flowers. I have that Stable that had met with, Paul. We have the gun. We're going to save an exit, though, because I've had enough. And this is around again, it's around the time my mom calls. She usually calls between 8 and 9. And she probably wants to know what we're going to do tomorrow, like when we're leaving, because I have an eye appointment in the morning. And then we got to go to Canadian Tires and get my heater and stuff like that. So yeah.